Right. Good afternoon, my wonderful students. Today we're going to go over lesson 6-5, Graphing Inequalities. So I've already put down example 1. It's going to be, is the ordered pair a solution of y is greater than x minus 3? And then we have 2 points or 2 ordered pairs, A and B. So take a moment right now to hit pause and copy this down before we go ahead and do the work. All right, so now that you've had time to write everything down, let's go ahead and solve this. So here are our steps that I put in the middle. So the first one is label, all right? Remember, this is an ordered pair. An ordered pair means it goes x is first, followed by the letter y. So I'm going to do that on both, x over here and the letter y. So that's done. So make sure we label. Makes this way easier. Write the inequality. So I'm just going to take this right here from our question and write it down here. So I'm going to put y is greater than x minus 3. I'm going to do it again over here. Y is greater than x minus 3. All right. Now I'm going to plug in our ordered pair like it says. So instead of y, I'm going to plug in 2 is greater than, instead of x, I'm going to plug in 1 minus 3. Over here, instead of y, I'm going to plug in negative 7 greater than, instead of x, I'm going to do negative 3 minus 3. Then basically I'm just going to use my calculator and I'm going to simplify this side. This side's already done. So over here I get 2 is greater than, and then 1 take away 3 on my calculator said negative 2. I'm going to just quickly jump over here. Negative 7 is greater than, I'm simplifying this side. Well, negative 3 minus a 3 makes a negative 6. And then this is where we check. So this says 2 is greater than negative 2. Yes, this is true. So this answer would be yes. Over here, this says negative 7 is greater than negative 6. That is false. So this answer is no. So the first part of this lesson is pretty easy stuff. It's just making sure that these points are a part of this solution. You just have to remember your greater than and less than signs, but we'll do a quick review on that also. So now we're going to move on to example 2 that involves graphing. All right, so by now you have example 1 written down. So here's example 2. This is going to be covering graphing. And this is a review at this point. So this says y equals mx plus b. Well, remember, m is the slope, if you can't read that, and b is the y-intercept. So yeah, we're going back to graphing. But I want you to get down this table. So just to let you know, the less than symbols are at the top. So this is less than or equal to, and that's regular less than. The greater thans, so that's greater than or equal to, and this is just greater than. And I'll explain what I mean that this one's going to mean the less thans are going to be below and the greater thans are going to be above. I'll explain what that means later. If they have the line underneath it, it's going to mean solid. And if it's just the regular inequality, it's going to mean dashed. But I'll explain all this when we're doing our example. So what I want you to do right now is hit pause, copy that down. All right, so as you can see, I added 2 problems and 2 graphs. So for graph A, I basically went 5 lines, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on B, I went down, I think 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So do graphs that look like this. It's about the best we can do with handwriting. And then write down this inequality underneath graph A. So y is greater than x minus 2. And then under B, you're going to put y is less than or equal to 1/2 x plus 1. So take a moment, hit pause, and get these copied down. Okay, so because graphing should be a review, what we're going to do is we're going to use this table. And the first thing we're going to do is identify if our line, and you'll see this in a little bit, is solid, dashed, and where our shading is. So you look at the inequality sign. So I'm going to look at this right here. And according to this one, this is a greater than. So it's on a greater than, so it's going to be above. So I'm going to write the word above. And then it's a regular one, and so that's going to be dashed. So I'm going to put dashed. Maybe I should have wrote that bigger. Dashed. So I'll explain. Well, you'll see what that means. So that says above and dashed, and I'm just going by this. So to graph this. So what's on my slope? Well, my slope is what's in front of x. So that's 1. Make it a fraction. So it's 1 over 1. And my y-intercept is -2. And again, so I'm going to go up to my table here. And I'm going to go to -2. Well, here's -2 right here. So 1, 2 down. And then 1 up. So that means up 1, remember? So up 1 and then over 1. So I'm going to go up 1 over 1 and put a dot. Up 1 over 1, put another dot. Up 1 over 1. Go again, up 1 over 1. Repeat the cycle going down. So I'll go down, backwards 1. Down, backwards 1. Now, this is where this above and dash come in. So first let's handle the dashed. Because this is a regular inequality, we're not going to draw a solid line. So we're just going to do dashes. That's very crucial to this lesson. So if it's a regular inequality sign with no line underneath it, you do a dashed line. Now, because it says y is greater, that means above. So what you're going to be doing today is you're going to be shading on your graphs. So above this line, just imagine if this was a telephone pole falling down. Well, if you were here, you'd be under it. If you're over here, you would be on the safe side or above. So what you have to do here, I'm going to use my pencil, and you're going to shade above this line. So having the line isn't just the answer. It's having the line and this shading. So make sure that we can see the shading above it. Okay, so that's shaded. Now, let's look at number B. Okay, so let's read this one out. This one says y is less than or equal to 1/2 x plus 1. So let's identify what type of line and shading we're going to have over here. So according to this, we're going to have because it has the equal sign, that's going to be a solid line. And because it's less than, right? So less than is going to be below. So this one's going to be below and solid. So this line's going to be below and solid, or the shading's going to be below and the line's going to be solid. So again, now this time we actually have a fraction for slope. So that's going to be up 1, remember? Up 1 and then over 2. And then we're going to start at, my B is 1. So let's graph this one real quick. So I'm going to go to 1. That's right here. That's my y-intercept. Up 1, this time over 2. Up 1 again, 1, 2. Up 1 again, over 2 more. I think that's good enough. Repeat the pattern. I'm going to go down 1, backwards 2, down 1, backwards 2, down 1, backwards 2. Now again though, so there's my rough draft. So now I need to go a solid line. So So unlike the dash, we're going to go solid. So there's my solid line. And this one says, because it's less than, and this one was greater, the less than makes sense. It's going to be shaded below or under. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to shade under the line we just made. And you shade the entire area under it. Right? So, hit pause if you need to copy this down. Okay, so again, just quick review, right? Graphing, we use the y equals mx plus b. These are all in that form already. M, or the thing in front of the x, is slope. So remember, if there's nothing in front, you can always add a 1. But slope is always a fraction, so you make it 1 over 1. The y-intercept is where it is on the y-axis. That's why both of these started on the y-axis. But the biggest thing here is remembering the type of line and the type of shading. And this little box will always help you write. Just remember though, less than means you're going to shade below it. Greater than, above it. If it's a regular inequality, it's dashed. And if it has the equal to sign underneath it, it means it's a solid line. And that's the end of lesson 6-5. You guys have a math-tastic day.